Be live. Not sure why the stream work. Alrighty then, and we are live. There we go.
Oh yeah.
Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to Jim and the Crypto episode 200. 200. Trying to see if I can bring up this chat box right now for some reason. It does not want to work. You got it?
Yep.
All right. Perfect.
Got it.
All right. 2,000 subscribers too. Big shout out to Clove71 who streams us from D Live with her Steam Monsters. She was one of the last few people to subscribe to get us to that 2,000 mark. So a lot of celebrations today. Bitcoin Day has some gifts to give out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So as you know, last month we had our giveaway for the Trezor for whoever had the most referrals, and we want to congratulate Antonio Anderson on being the winner. Congratulations, brother. On bringing the most subscribers. Actually works with us with some of the moderating, and he'll be receiving that free Trezor. And also for the free Satoshis from last show, we want to give away. It is going to Leroy Forbes. Thank you for your comment based on our question, which was who should we bring on the show? He actually said Ronnie Moaz, who is unfortunately sort of busy right now.
Ronnie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but we still
get these analytical tips.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We still need to bring Ronnie. There's a few other people that were listed. Great comments there, and we'll be sending you those free Satoshi. So thank you there, brother.
All right. Let's see. Go ahead and get some shout outs real quick. Gabriel Hernandez, hello. Ball and Chain, Shannon Allen, D Troop 7695, Alex Daly, of course, Antonio, Tessa, Alec G, Sergeant Crypto, everybody in the house today.
Everybody
what's going on?
The shirt.
Yes, we are streaming from a undisclosed location in Los Angeles. No, we're streaming from actually a popular recording studio with some pretty big artists who come in and out. So I don't think anybody's coming in this morning since we're in here, but it will be very interesting. You never know who you might see.
Hey, Tupac might show up.
Jay-Z might come through with it. Tupac, and Biggie are coming on the way.
Hopefully
out.
LeBron walks in, like I said.
LeBron might be in here too later. He's somebody who's got something going on. I don't know. He got new diss trappers out. I don't know.
Congrats to us.
Anyway, so what's going on today?
Oh yeah, so definitely this is our 200th episode.
We pop some, we pop bottles for 200 episodes. We didn't do anything super expensive because it is a bear market. We're here in the bear market with you. I don't want you all to be like, all right, what's going on? These dudes popping $300 bottle. No, look, we got a regular, a good mid-grade bottle of champagne. We're not going too crazy, all right? Maybe on 1,000 episodes in the bull market, we'll go a little crazy again.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna poke Zay eye.
Oh yeah, I know. Absolutely. But yeah, we've had a lot of great shows. Like we said, we did our 100th show February 9th. And now we're at our 200th show. Also, our 1 year anniversary.
1 year anniversary, 200 show, and 2,000 subscribers.
2,000 subscribers, all in the same day. Oh yeah.
Could've done well, you
pop it. Oh yeah. Appreciate you, all our warriors. Definitely getting it popping in here. Cheers to all of you.
Cheers, all those crypto warriors. We taking this with you all. Couldn't done without you. We're still here.
Still here.
Hopefully for another couple years. Even though this news story we're about to put out, who knows?
Absolutely, because it never stops. As good as things get, there are always people trying to rein in on the party. So.
Right. So just give you an idea what we're gonna do. It's kind of a loose show day. You all know we go live, so hey, whatever comes up, we do it.
Yep.
We're gonna start off just going over a couple news stories. We're gonna look at some of our talk about some of our past videos we did, the past 100 videos. And then we're going to bring Sinclair Skinner on to talk about some of the things he has going on in crypto.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And the top story that just popped up on Cointelegraph, not only, and this is why we got started a little bit later, popped up about, 8-10 minutes ago or something. 5 nations launched tax enforcement alliance to tackle crypto cybercrime threat.
Oh,
you heard it. And when I saw the title, people, I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to be honest, my heart dropped because when they said 5 nations are trying to tackle or create an enforcement alliance to tackle crypto and a cybercrime threat, a tax enforcement alliance, you can only think of who those 5 countries were. My first thoughts were the same 5 countries that we share intelligence with. Where literally you hear about the United States can't spy on its own citizens. Well, yeah, we might not be able to, but the UK does it for us. Australia will spy on our citizens for us, and they give us the information. We do the same with them, vice versa.
Yep.
Well, it looks like these are the same nations creating this crypto tax alliance.
Surprise, surprise.
The United States Internal Revenue Service has launched, the IRS too. The IRS has launched an international task force together with tax enforcement authorities from 4 other countries to take on cryptocurrency-enabled crimes. according to a press release published Monday, July 2nd. The new coalition, dubbed the Joint Chiefs of Global Tax Enforcement, another alphabet agency.
Another alphabet agency you got to memorize.
Or short, the J5, compromises tax enforcement agencies from 5 countries in total, including Australia, Canada, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom, alongside the United States. Again, these are the same countries that continuously spy on us. And I'm not gonna lie, if you would have saw my face when I saw the story as Bitcoins, they said it was disheartening. I mean, you literally have 5 world superpowers creating a tax enforcement alliance, the J5, to tackle crypto and a cybercrime threat. Both of which, the cybercrime threat exists with or without crypto. But the tax enforcement and tackling crypto is a threat that isn't even there.
Yeah.
And we're creating this super agency with your tax money to lock you up for just trying to find another avenue of employment, really.
And it's a lot of innovation coming to the space, a lot of good things. If you ignore the FUD, there's been plenty of good news the last few months, and all they can focus on is cybercrime, so to say, which we've already proven is less than 0.1% of total crime. And Bitcoin is less than 6% of all cybercrime. So it's not really a big deal, but they're making it. And it's kind of messed up. They waited till Joe Jackson died to name it J5 because they know he wasn't going for that. They had to steal the name. So they waited. See, man, like I said, a lot of times with these countries, when they get together, they already have the infrastructure in place. They just got to decide on a target. And now they have a new one. So now that's crypto. And
are they going to split the money?
Yeah, what have they done with the Bitcoins? Have we split it?
Do we split the taxes we get back? This is ridiculous. So yeah, we just saw that story again, people. It's a disheartening story when you literally now, and this is something we already saw coming last year when Russia, I think it was one of the prime ministers or deputy prime minister in Russia, came out and said, hey, the only way we can tackle this crypto thing is to create a global alliance. They actually, Russia did call for it last year, but of course, nobody wanted to play fair because the whole thing is serious, still going on. But it looks like, of course, the United States, they're just taking the page out of the same book we've been doing, using the same countries the CIA shares information with. And they're saying, hey, let's do the same with our IRS. And when it comes to tax evasion, I guess, because no one can move to any other country besides those 5.
Yeah, exactly.
What happens if you leave the alliance?
Well, if you go to Malta, you go to you go to African country. Yes, it's gonna be a lot different. But that has been the theme of our last 100 shows, really, because when we took sort of the Christmas break and we were telling people, what you want to look out for is regulations. That is exactly what we said. We said it a few times. And starting with our 100 show to now, the overall theme to me has been regulation. Straight up regulation. I mean, even my favorite part of the last 100 shows has been we went to the CIAA conference, teamed up with Bitmari, the CEO, we'll have on today. And we were the first Bitcoin businesses at the CIAA. And we still ran into regulators. King had to run up on FINRA regulators and ask them some questions because they were around, and they gave us the same answers. Like, well, we have to regulate it. We have to, make sure everything is going good or whatnot. When in reality, after a few questions, they basically came to the conclusion that they're just robots that are told what to do. And this is what we're seeing. These people, they're not going to stop. And there's been a lot of regulation going on, which is hilarious because that's exactly what we've told people the last 4 or 5 months. That's what they're going to do, and they've come to a conclusion with these 5 nations, I think.
And then that kind of goes along with the whole point of not just the regulation, but another big story from the last 100 episodes, expansion of Malta. You were talking about that earlier.
Yep, sovereign states.
With all that regulation has come sovereign states, whether people are expanding to Malta or people are hitting up Richard Branson. Like, hey, how much is that island going for?
Yeah.
You got Roger Ver talking about starting his own country. It's a few people talking about starting their own country. That was the other guy.
Let's see.
Peter Thiel?
Bitcointopia. Yeah, Peter Thiel with Marshall Islands. Right. Bitcointopia in Nevada. They're Akoin starting his own thing in Senegal.
Yep, Akoin.
I mean, this is literally what happens. That's what happens when you overregulate. People say, "Well, I can leave." Like, what? You can't make me stay here. And most of the people, I believe, or most of the businesses, I should say, have already taken that step. I think retail people will be next in line because once it becomes, pretty easy to navigate.
And that's what it's all about.
You can work from anywhere. You can use your money anywhere.
This, I will say the thing about this article with the J5. This is a very bullish indicator. I'm going to tell you why. Kind of what you said about the retail investors are starting to come. If retail investors weren't coming, which means they're going to open up the market to everybody, mom and pops, there would be no need for the J5 because they're not going to go around arresting some of these institutional and credit investors. Granted, now if they're trying to evade $20-30 million in their taxes, they'll go get them. But by and large, they're not going to go after those. They're looking for the retail investors to come in, the people who are trying to sneak away with a couple $100,000 and all that. Easy arrest. Nobody's going to fight back. 99.9% conviction rate. I can make DA or whatever next. That's what they're looking for. So for them to launch an initiative like this, that means they are launching it because they are expecting a lot more people to jump into crypto very soon. So I think that's a good thing. And Gabriel Hernandez, shout out. Gabriel said the show's going to be over when the bottle's empty. I mean, that's not a bad idea.
That's not a bad idea.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Maybe another bottle pop out of here.
Anything else big happening in the news? I mean, it's been pretty slow.
Yeah, I mean, in the news so far today is not really much. I will say shout out to the youngest Bitcoin billionaire.
Right.
The BitMEX crypto exchange. This is a nod to people who work hard in the crypto industry, bring good products. Ben Dello, shout out to him. One of the big stories to me, as far as hard work putting it in, is because BitMEX has become one of the most popular exchanges in the world, and he's known to sit up and do 18 to 24-hour sessions, coding sessions to get it done, which is what you got to do. And at 34, he is a billionaire.
Nice.
Congrats to him. That's one of the best things we like to see in the space. As much as we may say about bad news regulations, there are people who are out here building great products. They'll be rewarded for it. And he's one of the guys who sort of a boy genius, basically was big in software engineering in his teens, went to Oxford, worked at IBM. He was vice president at JP Morgan. So he has a track record. So at his age, at 34, he's had the experience, went out on his own.
He deserves it. He earned it.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah. So good for him. And, he's one of the first billionaires. I think Winklevoss was the first official billionaires. They've been billionaires
like
for a
the
while.
Official ones.
Yeah, official ones, so to say. But
there's definitely some more.
There's some more. If not a single person, a group of people.
I'll say 10 or 15.
Yeah,
10 or 15 people.
Billionaires.
10 or 15.
Out of them, there'll be at least one trillionaire, I think, in our lifetime. At least one. And at that point, that's when we talk about sovereign places, that's when you can buy a country. I mean, if they have more money than we have debt, they can just pay that off.
And then that's when you're going to see some of these countries turn back into who they always were.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Gang. I'm telling y'all, you're going to see it. When people start flooding out these first world countries to create their own and all that stuff, that is when you will see these countries who always preach morally right, high road, starting certain their military like, no, you're not allowed to leave without our permission.
Absolutely.
And we'll see what happens next.
Oh, yeah.
Any other big stories or anything you want to reminisce on before we bring Sinclair in?
I was going to say, reminiscent wise, just a few of the funny things we've gone through the last 100 shows because we like to keep it light. One of the funniest things I think was Bacoin, which is the
coin. The bacon?
Yeah, the bacon one from Oscar
it worked
Mayer.
though. It actually worked.
Yeah. Like, that's one of the biggest ones. I think when they did their ICO, it was like 10 strips of bacon or one strip of bacon for
then it went as high as like 14 strips of bacon equals one Bacoin.
Exactly. Yeah, I love the light side of crypto because I mean, in all honesty, you have to laugh to make it through some of the stuff in the market. Also, crypto kitties. The boom of crypto kitties coming.
Crypto kitties is huge.
And then, of course, Steph Curry's crypto kitties being in the news, even though that kind of got shut down.
Right.
But just the fact that they had some sort of decentralized application that was popular that shows, Ethereum is on the way. It works, yeah. It couldn't scale yet, but that's some of my favorite stories so far, as on the funny side.
Actually, now that we think about it, for the free Bitcoin, did you already have one in mind? But for free Bitcoin today, in the comments after the show, of course, put in quotes, make sure your public address. Tell us what was your favorite part of the last moment of our last 100 episodes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Add that in. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think mine have been some of the dinos of the day, like Warren Buffett. You got Warren Buffett, Bill Gates. Honestly, the general FUD has been my favorite part because it's one of those things where you used to like, am I crazy? Are these conspiracy theories? You gotta understand, people, when we started early on, a lot of this stuff wasn't out there yet.
It wasn't even that much news.
You are questioning yourself, like, am I way too deep into this thing? But now you're starting to see these patterns of FUD, even now with the accumulation and the launch of this J5, which shows you like, hey, no, you're not going crazy.
Yeah.
This has been happening in front of you. There's some corruption going on. It's a lot of good businessmen out there that's running governments now for whatever reason. But It's crazy. So for me in general, the last 100 episodes, I've just loved to see the FUD because you're literally going to see it in broad daylight. Hey, this person, this person, this person. And all they're doing is burying themselves because after all of this regulations, the one thing I haven't heard of regulators doing is buying more crypto.
Yeah,
they're doing everything but buying crypto. All they got to do is shut up and buy some Bitcoin and they'll be fine.
Yeah, or like you said, Dino Bernstein. He said crypto is comparable to Candy Crush. Like those.
Oh, that was a great moment.
Like, come on. Like these are the people that you were basically entrusting with your economy or with your money, and they can't even formulate a good hypothesis or a good explanation of what Bitcoin is. So, I mean, as far as the funny side, it's always great to get some dinos in there. We've had so many dinosaurs.
We've had a lot of dinosaurs.
We're going to do like a Jurassic Park. We need a just Jurassic Park.
We're going to do a rewind show where we already have preloaded clips of all our dinos or something because there's a good amount of them.
Oh yeah. There's more coming. They just look more foolish the further along we get. But
I mean, give the whole IRS dino there at this point.
Oh yeah.
Your tax alliance. What's going to happen when your tax alliance realizes everybody's switched over to Zcash and Monero?
Yeah. And remember, they have already started the initiative to stop privacy coins. That's another thing. So I mean, that's definitely not going away. You still got BitBay and some of these other companies that use it for payment. It's not going away, but they can try. Good luck.
And last plug before we bring Sinclair, definitely want to shout out, if you didn't already, and for everybody who signed up for our email list, we'll be sending out some emails this week too with a couple more promotions. But if you haven't already got in our digital assets group, highly suggest it. We have over probably 10 or 15 different videos on there.
Yep.
All learning videos. The BitMEX trading tutorial that Bitcoin Zay put together, it's like 45 minutes long. It teaches you everything you need to know to trade on BitMEX, including margin trading. So that video alone is worth the one-time payment. If you just want to log on for a month and then go check all the videos and log back off for another 3 months. But a lot of good information. So if you haven't already, make sure you check that out.
Oh yeah. How you can track your portfolio.
Portfolio trackers.
How to use Qcoin exchange. We introduced you to Qcoin, IDEX, a lot of the smaller exchanges. Trading Ethereum pairs, all things that we try and find different ways.
We have videos for all of those up,
Absolutely.
people. We just don't post them publicly. Those are for the digital assets group. So if you haven't already, check it out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the 10th issue of the newsletter is coming out today. For the subscribers, make sure you check that out as well. So definitely a lot of stuff coming, and new merchandise coming to the shop this month. Make sure you look out.
Somebody asked about the shirts. We're gonna have some more shirts coming in as well. So
shirts just like this coming in, hoodies, everything. So that'll be coming this month. We'll make sure we let you guys know whenever they're posted on the website, so you can go ahead and shop KRBE Crypto.
All right. Without further ado, I'm about to go ahead and start to bring Sinclair Skinner in.
Oh yeah, the man, the myth, the legend.
Let's see. I believe you are muted right now.
How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, we'll get him in here.
Hey, can you hear us?
I can hear y'all loud and clear. It's been excellent.
Oh,
perfect. Hey, welcome to the show, Sinclair. Bitcoin Zay, you want to do a brief introduction and let him introduce himself as well?
Oh yeah, I'll let you introduce yourself, Sinclair, so you can give him the full rundown of who you are.
All right. Hey, thanks, guys. Sinclair Skinner. I'm co-founder of Bitmari, which is a Pan-African blockchain remittance company. Our startup has been working since 2015. Our first product has been a cold wallet product, as well as our ability to allow people to cash out in Zimbabwe has been our first country that you can actually use Bitcoin to send people money to a particular country. We also have a platform where we're developing smart contracts for folks to invest in African farmers. We think that's a next big opportunity where we can leverage this technology to allow people to, in a more transparent, secure way, to transfer value across borders beyond just the so-called crypto space, but actually allow people to do financial transactions and business opportunities. So we're getting a lot of work done. There's a lot of work to get done. I think in these bear markets or the dips, when you're in the space, we just got to keep working. I mean, you guys are at 200. You guys didn't stop episodes when it dipped. Y'all kept putting in the work. So definitely admire you guys for doing that, and that's what inspires us. I just listen to right now. I wish I spent more time listening to the episodes because, again, you know, when you're in this space, you can get lonely sometimes. You guys think you're kind of crazy.
That is very true. You can't get lonely.
Yeah, you get lost. So, you know, I'm clear. So good stuff.
Well, appreciate it. We already actually have questions. I got a fly mess on me right now. We have questions rolling in for you all already. If you don't mind taking a quick one. Starting Crypto, he's one of our in-house guys. He's always here. He said, what are you going to do about partnering with banks in Jamaica? Are you going to do anything with partnering with banks in Jamaica?
Yeah, I mean, we're open to partner with, you know, anyone who's trying to get their people access to this economy in a way that doesn't have all the friction and the third parties siphon off value. You know, our catchphrase is decolonize your life. So we're clear that be it you're an African in Jamaica, you're African in LA or African in DC, that you're an African, and that as a people we've you know, unfortunately, from payday lending schemes and this the way our people have been exploited on the continent, that we need a alternative way to transfer value. So we're willing to partner and work with anyone who's trying to secure that level of returning value back to the people and giving our people that freedom. Africa has the highest, as a continent, remittance fees in the world. And I'm sure Jamaica and the Caribbean, if you look at how the economies are impacted by our country, by the United States and other so-called neo-colonial powers, that we need an alternative way to connect our folks. So we've partnered with a local bank in Zimbabwe called AgriBank, and we've been able to give them opportunity to access cross-border transactions in a way that Western Union doesn't provide. We'd love to be able to provide that same opportunity for folks in Jamaica with their financial institutions.
Nice. All right, so we definitely have questions and things rolling in for you. So a couple of them is people want to know, what's your crypto origin story? How did you get involved in it? Then also, which Zimbabwe stance on crypto now? Because people have been hearing that it's not being accepted or embraced in Zimbabwe.
My story, let's see. It's kind of interesting.
Everybody wants to know what year. What's the year?
You do got to name drop a couple people that you knew back then.
Name drop and magic year.
Okay, 2013 is when I got involved in crypto.
Super early.
Let's see. Max Kaiser, it's got to be easily, you know, my Bitcoin godfather. Yeah. He's the person that put me down from the Kaiser report. I think my biggest engagement was one of my former employees and fraternity brothers went to school in Houston with Brian Armstrong. So early on, when Coinbase was really operating out like an apartment, went and visited those guys and Adam White and checked those guys out. And this is before they got their money from Andreessen Horowitz with their big A round. So
wait, you're in the you met Brian Armstrong from Coinbase back when he was in the apartment days.
Right. Yeah. So they had like a, you know, it was like an office. It was kind of fun. It was nondescript. So my man introduced us to him, and then I had a good friend of mine with me, and we go check him out in San Francisco. And they're in this building that looked like an apartment building, but there was no signage. So there's no like all they had was like numbers on the doors. So it wasn't like you know like some doctor's offices are kind of like that where they got doctor so and so. This was just a door with the number on it, and we knock on the door. They were like, "Who is it?" Like, we were the fans and stuff. They cracked the door open, you know. It was like, all right. And then so that's you know, I first, you know, kind of really got in contact with some of those real guys, and Adam White and I had a pretty good relationship ever since then. Brian Armstrong I haven't talked to in quite some time, and yeah, so that was it. And then I went to Money 2020. Heard a presentation from the Winklevoss twins there, and then I was invited to a event in Zimbabwe to talk about crypto. I had been doing business in Zimbabwe with my mentor since about 2008. And one of the hardest things was always trying to move money. You know, our country, and this is something we don't really talk about, even having y'all allude to, you know, the J5 and things like that. As African Americans, we're just not as engaged as we should be in foreign affairs. You know, we have a foreign policy that probably pretty much mirrors our domestic policy as it relates to Black folks. And if you think about it, as Black people in America, we're a direct consequence of bad foreign trade policy by America. If you think about it. So if anybody should be like super like conscious about what is America doing, you know, in other places as it relates to trade and activity, it should be those who are a direct result of those bad policies. Yet, you know, when we think about Black Lives Matter and George Soros, who's controlling those organizations, but when we think about you know, Black Lives Matter or any of these type issues, we unfortunately think about it as a domestic thing, but we're a product of an international space. This is not where we're from. So when you see people even talking about immigration in a weird way, you know, our people have been in America over 200 some years. If anybody needs to talk about who comes and who goes, we should be the main one. We should never let anybody make us relinquish our responsibility or our say-so in this space. We done fought in every war, from Crispus Attucks getting gunned down to today where some brother probably in Afghanistan is getting shot. We done shed all this blood for this flag, talking about 4th of July. I wish somebody would tell me what's a topic for me or not.
So,
oh yeah.
We got another question for you. Hold on one second. Looking for someone asked, how can they invest in your company?
Oh, great, bro. That's a great question. So we're looking right now at doing another round of, we did a pre-seed round with Bank to the Future. So yes, you can invest. Let me just answer that. Yes, please. We did our first round last year, about August, with a platform called Bank to the Future with Simon Dixon's super great folks. We raised about $342,000. And we use those funds to get our project operational as it related to our cash out feature that I alluded to earlier in the conversation, where a person could be anywhere in the world and send money to friends or family in Zimbabwe using Bitcoin. So that was our first thing. We were able to achieve that in 47 branches in Zimbabwe, and we've use those funds also to further develop our project. We have been working with local women farmers, where at first we use Bitcoin as a token. And we started that project, that part of our project in 2016 when transaction fees and times were much shorter, but we actually used Bitcoin as a token. So we didn't use its full face value, as it were. We used it as a token of a value. So we said like 1,000 bits was worth 1 kg of fertilizer, let's say. And then we were able then to give about 80 farmers these tokens so they could redeem them for supplies. So we've taken that model as a foundation, and that helped us develop our POS system that we use currently with our bank partner. And we now are taking that model to a way where we can engage African Americans as our target with the indigenous brothers and sisters in Africa through smart contracts. So one of the biggest things that's happened in Zimbabwe was after the indigenous brothers and sisters got their land back from the colonizers, not today colonizer, not today, not on this show, not today. One of the things that they were able to do was get their land back, but still the markets were controlled by Europeans, and the finances were controlled by the former colonizers. And what they did is they set up contract farming, where the brothers and sisters still were farming, but you had this middleman who was actually buying the crops at a discount and then selling it to the marketplace at a premium. We think there's enough technology available to create a system that's transparent and give better value to those farmers as well as to the marketplace, leveraging smart contracts. So as we build that out, we're going to go through another funding round, and we still haven't finalized what platform we're going to use. Are we going to go to traditional equity? Are we looking at other vehicles, be it utility or security type tokens? But we definitely are going to be going back out in the marketplace And we definitely would love, brother, to hit us up on info@bitmari and .com, and you can, let us know your information and be a part of what we're trying to do.
You typing it in?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm typing it in now.
Bitcoin's there, gonna type it in. Someone else asks, how do you feel about the Mojaloop and how it ties into your mission?
The what?
The Mojaloop, MAJA loop.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Tell me what
All right, you gotta caution. Let us know exactly what that is.
Bro.
I don't know. Look, I've been on witness stands. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to even try to, guess.
Yeah, I got one question for you, Sinclair. For the future projects that you have, how are you looking at using Neo?
Oh, great. So that's the blockchain protocol that we're building our smart contract. Our development team, brother Tongai and Wafula, we got some great developers, one from Zimbabwe, one from Kenya, and they've been actually in the States for the last for the summer. And we've been doing some building and collaboration at this place called the Digital Garage in San Francisco. And we're using that. We have a long play with Neo. People call it the Chinese Ethereum. And I think one of the things this brother on the continent of Africa taught me, man, he said, look, out of all the civilizations that have been in the top 5 for the last 5,000 years, it's been the Chinese. Don't bet against them. If you think anybody's going to figure something how to food, shelter, and clothe, they've been able to do it for 5,000 and been in some of the top 5 cultures in the world. So, something like smart contracts, you need a community. So it's not, so much, as much as people try to talk to libertarian stuff and anarchist stuff, which I'm down with all that, it's almost socialist like, it's a network. It's a group of folks working together to do a particular goal. And you can't just do whatever you want. I mean, the algorithm is very clear. You can't just come up with what kind of Bitcoin this is today. So in a real way, we as a communal people, as Africans, we predate socialism with our ability to work collectively together. And we think that the Chinese have in many ways mastered the ability to work together. If they're arguing right now, we don't know if they're arguing with each other. We wouldn't even know if they're mad or happy with each other. But if you look at Ethereum and some of these other projects, it's one of those things where, you want to, we're supportive of all this space, and we're really Bitcoin maximalists at Bitmari. But some of the infighting and silly, I believe in Jesus, but I don't believe in no Bitcoin Jesus. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I don't know who you are, but it's one of those things where we need to stop the silliness and work together collectively. And I think,
in crypto in general, you feel that way?
Yeah. Yeah, it goes through ups and downs. Like now we're in a bear market. I don't see us tripping as hard. People like this EOS has had their bad, having problems, which could be expected out of anything new. You have a lot of people trying to now, I think, try to figure out how to improve their platforms. But that whole Bitcoin Cash stuff that was silly, where you have people, just coming out of woodworks. And I think some of the spoofing, some of the problems that the Bitcoin blockchain had, some of this stuff was probably, done on purpose. And just to
we talked about that last year when it was happening. We were saying, what was it? It was being clogged on purpose intentionally.
Oh yeah,
the bots were intentionally clogging the network.
The mempool.
The
mempool. That's what it. Yeah, and so for us is let's just use the best tools. We're not again. We often promote we say Pan-African. We talk about I love Black people and decolonize your life. We have a certain worldview. We think these are just tools, in our company, we say that we want to make sure our people have cultural competency as well as technical competency. We need cultural competency because we need to understand how in the hell we got in this situation in the first place. And then we need to not just use that because, preachers use that. These evangelists use their understanding of our problem to preach to us. But we also need the technical competency. We don't see any of these technologies inherently good or bad. We just need to be able to use them as tools to liberate our people. The problem is, and this is something you guys probably seen, is when it was not so many black folks in the space, you prayed that black folks would, see the light. But then as soon as we get in, we're doing triple M and OneCoin, and we're getting pimped by another system. Like no matter where we go, we're looking for a pimp. Stop. You do not have to prostitute yourself. You can actually get some real liberation and real freedom. You don't have to go through this where someone else is trying to get you to, membership fee to get involved with some pyramid scheme.
Someone asks, we're going to chase that coin. Someone asks, when they buy a contract on your site for $1,600, what do they get?
So our development is to actually put real farm projects on our site where people will be able to review those farm sites. And as we develop the site, develop a reputational type protocol that allows people to kind of like grade their experience. But it could be something like chickens, it could be maize, which is corn, it could be a host of projects related to agriculture. What we like about agriculture is that there's a definite date that something gets done. Like if you invest in, like, again, and I'm in a startup, you invest in the startup, you got to pray one day we're going to actually, give you some type of meaningful evaluation, right? Valuation. But when you talk about a crop, there's an actual start and end time to that, and it's within a year. So even as we start looking at the proliferation or the utility of smart contracts, we still think it's very early. So if somebody was to actually create a relationship that lasted, let's say, 9 months for a growing season, we think that's enough time where even if the technology changes drastically, that you could actually start and finish and execute a contract in 9 months and everybody feel comfortable. So right now, we're going to have a host of different projects that we list. One of the things that got me started in Zimbabwe was we were looking at an ethanol project where we would take sugar cane and take it through one additional in sugar cane. Oftentimes people make rum and different alcohol out of it. If you take it through one more distillation process, you can get to what this ethanol that you can actually burn in a engine. So I see agriculture as being a great space. My co-founder, Mr. Mapindera, has about 235 hectares of land that we've been active on. So we have the background and the people in our ecosystem that are familiar with these opportunities. And I think this is a great way to take digital commodities and link them to real world commodities and do it within a short enough period of time where people can benefit. And many people want to give and be helpful in Africa in the first place. So what we think is that this is not only are you able to spend $1,000 on the continent, you're able to get a return for that money. And I think these relationships that hopefully are going to be created in a peer-to-peer way can be used to build, even bigger and larger relationships. We hope that this is just a introduction into the relationships. And if we can do more of that, we can realize that, we have peers over there on the continent and they've been begging to meet us and we don't meet them. A lot of times we meet brothers and sisters who come here from the continent who have the means to travel and go to college in another country. I wish I had the money to travel and go to other countries when I was in college. But many of the folks that are more like us don't have that access, but they're doing amazing things locally, and access to capital is a problem. Well, in America, you're going to be hard pressed to find any investment vehicle where $1,600 is going to be really meaningful. But if you are talking about agriculture in Zimbabwe, $1,600 goes a long way. And so we can produce returns, hopefully, that will make not only advantageous, but actually do the good that we're seeking to do, and stop waiting on somebody to come save us because they're not coming.
Right. Oh, yeah. Looks like so they're saying Mojaloop, which is the partnership between Dwolla and the Gates Foundation. So I wasn't sure you know anything about that.
No, I think the Gates Foundation and many of these NGOs are terrible anyway. So I think this whole thing, it's a big pimp scheme. You think about the Red Cross in Haiti. My wife is Dominican, and I got a villa in Dominican Republic, and we were there during some of these storms as well as the earthquake. And a lot of these monies are being siphoned off by NGOs, and very little of that money is hitting the ground. So when you start doing relationships with some of these large NGOs, you know, whoever pays the piper plays the tune or something. I'm messing it up. So I'm very mindful of these large relationships with NGOs, because if you look at the continent of Africa, let me say another way. There's never been a time when the colonizer came to Africa saying they're going to come rob, kill, and steal and rape everybody. They never said that. They've always said they're coming to spread Christianity. We're going to come and help and civilize. Man, look, you know, 200 years later, 400 years later, we still catching hell. So I think what blockchain technology allows us to do is allows us to connect to individual folks, and we can form collectives that transcend borders. And, you know, if you look at Africa, these borders were created by Europeans. You know, the Council of Berlin, when we look at these so-called, you know, when they tell us Africa is not one country, well, I'm willing to say that's true, but it definitely really ain't 54 countries. But these were, you know, fictions created by Europeans and colonizers. And then even when I say colonizers, there's been all kind of colonizers, not just Europeans. And I say that to say that, you know, as individuals, if you think about pre-colonial Africa, we had very decentralized systems. You know, there's no way you can have a continent with, you know, that many languages, that many cultures living side by side for thousands of years and growing, you know, without them being able to master what decentralization really means. It wasn't until we started having our people become colonized, then you start seeing the centralizing of a people. Even in so-called North America, there was so many different nations here that they were able to coexist. But through colonialism is when they try to centralize and create these mythical borders and central authorities. So I think Gates and all the rest of them, I've not seen a colonizer come to Africa yet that really meant any real good. And I pray that there might be some allies in their organization. But from what I've seen with the little better than 10 years of my engagement on the continent, you know, we need more African Americans to be a part of these organizations. When I see the Bill Gates and the rest of these foundations talking about how much they love Africa, and I say, well, how about the black person that lived down the street from you? Oh, well, what do you mean?
Yeah. So, give me a last question. What do you think about Akoin? What Akon's trying to do?
You know, I'm pro-black, so you know I'm gonna say nothing but good things about black folks. I think I hope that his team's got some folks that are really sincere about helping our people out. I think what he's done with some of the solar work that he's done has been inspirational, and I think in this space, you know, as long as you ain't lying, cheating, or stealing, you know, I don't care what color you are, you lying, cheating, and stealing, I'm not dealing with that. So in a real way, I think what he's done is, again, giving more people in the black community, they've heard more about crypto and blockchain because of his work. And if that can inspire a young brother and sister to see this as a career path or something to do, I think is already a victory. If he's successful or not, I think all of us that's on this journey in the blockchain space, by us just being on this journey, I think in a way is a successful thing. So, you know, I encourage him and anybody else that want to come out here where the water's real deep and get at it.
Oh, yeah. All right. You got any other things?
No, that's all for me.
How about the conference?
But the conference, I would say the last thing I want you to do is explain the conference coming in September, and let us know exactly, you know, what you're planning.
We need you guys on there, man. We need y'all to be speakers, man. We need y'all to, you know, shoot whatever y'all want to do, whatever y'all want to promote.
We are there.
You know, I've been going to these conferences for, like I said, since 2013, and having conferences that focus on issues that are related to our community's issues and problems is very hard. And I don't think it's racism. I just think the people who are coordinating these conferences aren't thinking about our issues. So if you're looking at like issues like education, how do we improve education? That may not be a mainstream issue for, you know, somebody from Estonia. But for our community, we're trying to figure out how to use technology, or even, you know, I always give the example of trying to catch a cab in Manhattan. One of the most humiliating times was trying to catch a cab in New York. When they came out with this technology called rideshare, it rendered that type of racism obsolete in many ways.
Yeah.
So now I just use my Uber or my Lyft, and I don't even know if they still racist. Now, if we had got Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton involved, we'd probably waiting another 100 years to get the taxi thing right. So in a real way, I think if we get the right people in the room, we can actually look at some of the issues that we're facing, coupled with some incredible thought leaders in the Black community, as well as any other communities, to be a part of it. Max Kaiser has already said that he'd be willing to participate. We talked to Brother Lamar. He said he's definitely interested. And, you know, definitely whatever you guys could do to participate. And when I say participate, if there's any projects, is there anything that folks in our community are doing in this space, we want to bring that to light. That week we're talking about is September 17th and 18th. I'm a Howard, as well as my co-founder, a Howard University alum. We're going to have it on historic Howard University's campus. I actually went to Tuskegee too, so I transferred. So I got another Tuskegee love too. And then it's going to be the same week as the Congressional Black Caucus. So there's going to be a lot going on that week. And I think we're going to have our little bus out there that we did our tours in. So if any of the special guests, the VIPs like y'all come, we can actually spend that time cruising around DC in the in the blockchain liberation bus.
Absolutely.
Right, sounds good.
Appreciate
and,
that.
And the dates on that one more time, or where the dates so everybody can have those?
September 17th and 18th. And we just got like a landing page called blockchainsummit.com that's up. So we just got like a little landing page where you can at least get some of the early agenda items on there and use that to kind of judge on what you were interested in. And again, if you guys have any particular topics, particular people that you're interested in promoting, we'd love to be able to use that as a vehicle to do that. ATM, whatever the stuff that y'all do. Like I said, we want it to be collective. I think, you know, what you guys are doing, I think, again, Lamar and the brothers are doing over there with our Wakanda, just dealing with all kinds of people. Like, that's the hard, look, the tech part is not the hard part, man. The people part, bro. Woo! And to see you two brothers working together as a people, you know, so much energy has been, you know, used to try to keep us apart. Seeing two Black men able to coordinate, work together collectively over 200 episodes. I mean, I know we ain't gonna talk about it like that, but getting us to do something like that without somebody, you know, controlling it as the coach or something, you know, it really shows a level of sophistication that you guys have been able to come up with to overcome all these things that would try to throw us off.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
people being
that.
people.
Oh, yeah.
Other than that, we appreciate you for sure for being here, Mr. Sinclair Skinner again. And of course, yes, everybody's welcome to go. Some people asked, can they go to the conference? Yes, everybody is welcome to go.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. Other than that, Zay, any last thoughts?
That's it for me. Just glad we made it to 200 show. Thank you again, Sinclair, for joining us today. Always good information for you, brother. Love it. Yes, sir.
Hey, well, thank you again. And hey, thanks everybody for watching and supporting us as always. We can't wait to see you all tomorrow. We're going to start off going toward, I guess, the 500 to 1,000 mark. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.